Hi everyone, welcome back to the second episode of the Healthy Heart podcast with Dr. Rohit Sane. I'm your host, Dr. Aman Kapoor, and I welcome you back to this series. Welcome, friends. In the last episode, we talked about heart attack symptoms, VO2 max, and what to do if you are suspecting heart attack. But today, we're going to talk about what you can do to have a healthy heart with respect to the diet. So, it is said that let your food be thy medicine and your medicine be thy food. That means your medicine should actually be your diet. In this episode, Dr. Rohit Sane is going to talk about what can you do in your diet to have a healthy heart. Welcome, Dr. Sane. Great to have you back here for the second episode. Dr. Sane, please guide us. What diet tips people should follow to have a healthy heart? So, diet for healthy heart. Over to you, Dr. Sane.
There are several factors which would guide yourself towards a healthy heart. Those factors would be very, very simple. Like first would be the calorie of food that you consume. The second would be the carbohydrate content of your food, as well as the specification of the carbohydrate that you have in this food. Third would be the protein content of the food, as well as the fat content of the food. And last but not the least would be the vitamin content of your food. I will explain them one by one. If you talk about the calorie content of your food, normally people tend to consume a very, very high amount of calories in their food, which normally do get deposited in our body in the form of fats, and gradually the weight increases, which leads to obesity. So this excess amount of calorie intake, which is responsible for obesity, is also responsible for heart disease. Sooner or later, we are supposed to accept this point. The lesser amount of calories we consume, the lesser we are marching towards heart disease. Now, if you talk about these calories, on an average, a normal Indian consumes more than 2,500 calories per day, while he utilizes not more than about 15 to 1,600 calories a day. So, if at all we could just match this calorie intake to what we expend, the easier calculation that you will reach to is going to be 15 to 1,700 calories a day will help you to prevent the further problems that we are going to march towards heart diseases. So that is going to be a concept of calories. Now, more important than these calories is going to be the qualitative content of carbohydrates in these calories. If at all you can restrict the carbohydrate intake to about max 30 to 40% of your whole calorie intake should not be related to carbohydrates, then you have a healthy diet. If at all you have more than about 40% of carbs in your calories, whatever you consume, you have a higher proportion of getting your blood turbid. And as soon as your blood gets turbid, the blood gets heavier. It is very, very difficult for this blood to travel all over the body because of the increasing specific gravity and increase in the triglyceride content of the blood, which can hamper the blood supply towards your heart. So if at all you can reduce down the consumption of carbs in your diet, in your whole calorie intake, it could be an easier option to prevent further heart problems. Now, talking about these carbohydrates, if at all you could understand the difference between simple carbohydrates and complex carbohydrates, the story might get more easier. If at all you talk about simple carbohydrates, this is nothing else but sugar, or else you can talk about certain foods like which are made up of maida, or else wheat, or else rice. These are simple carbohydrates. So instead of having sugar related foods and all other simple carbohydrates, if at all you can switch yourself to complex carbohydrates, which could be like jawar, bajra, ragi, it could be something like soya bean, it could be like oats, it could be something like quinoa, and many more options of complex carbohydrates would also be available, which could replace the wheat and rice from your food. So if at all you follow this principle of replacing simple carbs with complex carbs, the story might get more easier. Now talking about proteins, if at all you can have a good proportion of proteins, about more than 30% of your calorie intake is been attributed to proteins, that is going to be the best combination that you can have, because the myocardial muscle, the muscle of your heart, is made up of proteins, and more amount of proteins that you consume, it is going to benefit the whole body as well as your cardiac system also. Along with proteins, if at all we talk about fats, a good combination of about saturated and unsaturated fatty acids will be the best combination. Earlier it was mentioned that ghee creates a huge amount of problem in our body related to cholesterol metabolism, but now several researchers have already mentioned that ghee which is being made in the right manner as explained in our traditional way, that kind of ghee will help you to reduce down your total LDL cholesterol as well as total cholesterol. It will work as an antioxidant. It will have n number of various nutrients like DHA and EPA. These things are going to keep your heart much more healthier. They would provide lot amount of antioxidants, and that will help your body to fight against an incoming problem. So a good combination of fatty acids which would consume a good amount of saturated as well as unsaturated fatty acids in the right proportion is going to be the best combination for you to go ahead with your foods in the fat regions. But talking about the other contents of your food, like the vitamin content, there are several vitamins which are very much important for your heart health. The most important vitamin that you could see is vitamin C. It has been mentioned in several research papers that if at all you have a good proportion of vitamin C in your body, you will be able to prevent heart attack to a very good level. It has been shown by n number of researchers that animals never suffer a heart attack. The reason behind them is they can store the vitamin C in their body, and this vitamin C is very much responsible for the health of the arteries. And you must be aware that if at all these arteries in our body, the blood vessels in our body are not healthy, they can create huge amount of problems like developing a blood clot through a cut inside the endothelium of the artery. It could lead to bleeding, that could lead to blood clots, and these blood clots result into heart attack. Vitamin C is known to reduce down these cuts inside the blood vessels. That internal damage can be prevented with the help of vitamin C, and thus you can prevent the further heart attack. Unfortunately, human beings are not able to store vitamin C inside our body, and that is the reason why humans normally suffer heart attacks. So if at all you have a good proportion of vitamin C every day, that will help your antioxidant level to be maintained to a good level, and that is going to help you prevent your further heart attacks. So vitamin C related fruits like n number of berries that you must be knowing, all of them are rich in vitamin C's, as well as oranges, mango, avla, lemons. There are n number of fruits which can help you to have that kind of vitamin C every day, and you can enjoy a healthy heart life with the help of good vitamin C consumption every day. Along with vitamin C, we can also have an idea about vitamin B12. If at all we talk about vitamin B12, there is a good source of vitamin B12 for vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian people. For non-vegetarian people, we can have eggs, meats, fish, and n number of non-vegetarian foods would supply a good source of vitamin B12. At the same time, if at all we talk about vegetarian people, there could be n number of dairy items like milk has a very rich source of vitamin B12, as well as yogurt also is a very rich source of vitamin B12. Vitamin B12 is known to reduce down the inflammation inside the blood vessels. Inflammation inside the arteries can be prevented with the good source of vitamin B12, and thus the homocysteine kind of agent which gets created inside the body, which is responsible for this inflammation, can be reduced down by vitamin B12. So thus vitamin B12 has its own role in reducing down the inflammation inside the blood vessels, and thus prevent the further damage to your blood vessels. At the same time, there is a vitamin called as vitamin K, which is also responsible for the health of the blood vessels, which can be available at several places like you can have several fruits like pomegranates and various vegetables like spinach. You can have tomatoes as well as soya bean also as a good source of vitamin K. So these kind of fruits and foods, if at all you have in your daily diet, I am sure that you will be having a very strong and healthy heart for your future.
Now, the newest thing that we hear is that fat is the new sugar. What I understand from is that sugar is more harmful than fat. Can you please guide us, give us more detailed understanding about this? Why is fat not as harmful as sugar, which was considered to be reversed couple of years back? With respect to heart health, does this really apply?
It applies completely to heart health. If at all you go back to the Ayurveda scriptures, they have already mentioned that fatty foods don't create a problem for your heart if they have been consumed in the right proportion. But at the same time, we could see now the new regulations that have come up, they also clearly mention the same, that fatty food consumption in the right proportion doesn't create any issues for your heart health. But who is the actual killer? It's nothing else than sugar. Whenever we consume sugar, whenever we consume those glucose molecules, these glucose molecules are the best source of energy for your body. But if at all your liver already has the right proportion of glycogen, which is a glucose storing molecule, if at all this glucose which has been converted into glycogen and stored in your liver, and liver has an ample source of glycogen in your body already stored inside, then the excess amount of sugar that you are consuming will be flowing free in your blood. Now, this sugar has all the ways to damage your blood vessels, and this sugar would get deposited in your body either in the form of fats or else would get oxidized and create damaging oxidative radicals in your body, which would create further damage to your blood vessels, leading to blood clots, which can lead to heart attack. So if at all you want to stay healthy, the simple 1-point single agenda is going to be stop all those things which are related to sugar and the alternatives of sugar. If at all you could just halt consuming any kind of sugar, you are going to have a beautiful, healthy heart life in your future.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rohit Sane. My dear friends, remember this mantra: let your food be your medicine. Having the right diet, right approach to eating in the right manner and the right portions is going to give you a healthy heart life. Thank you for joining in for this episode today. Thank you, Dr. Sane, for giving us such a valuable tip and such valuable guidance about diet for healthy heart. Friends, remember to share this with the ones whom you love. Share it with your friends, family members, relatives and colleagues. Like and subscribe if you have not done so till now. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask in the comments below. Thank you very much. Till the next time, this is Dr. Aman Kapoor signing over and out. Bye-bye.